And we're stepping back into the Quake Pro League one final time this evening to see who is going to walk away as the victor between Rapha and Dooi in our last series of the night, Harry.
Sad times, isn't it?
I know.
You know, we want to keep doing it, but only so many matches we can see. So
It's really so much fun, isn't it?
it is really so much fun. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Do you know? I really love it. That's the main thing.
Fantastic. It's going to be a banger. It's always fun when we get a bit of Rapha. You know, he runs rampant. He's like a rash. He's always on you. You can't ever get rid of him. He's just too much. And his opponent in Dooi, though, does he have a remedy? Does he have a way to stop him? Can you really, truly stop Rapha?
Not really, let's be real, you know, he's been on absolute rampage, even the last stage, remember 13 in 0, stage 2 finals. This guy is an absolute machine. He's been called Professor for a reason. I could do my maths test in the future, but then again, you know, Dooi, he does play very defensively. What is the answer? Well, do you know what? Rapha may show it, he may not. We'll have to see what happens, but Rapha has been playing phenomenal, out of his mind, and he managed to figure people out and adapt very easily, very quickly on the fly. He's a dangerous man, especially during this matchup, and Dooi is going to have a bad time, maybe a strong time, but it's going to be a tall order, and it's a big ask.
He sounds threatening. He's a dangerous man.
He is a dangerous man. On the server, it's like, you better watch out.
Don't leave your doors unlocked. You know, make sure your windows are closed. Rapha's on the prowl. Be careful. This man is a threat. He is out for blood.
On the server, yeah. It's like,
damn.
yeah, better watch out for the man.
Yeah. Make sure he can't get over your back gate.
Exactly, but one you don't see too often with Dooi, his defensive style and how he plays. Again, Rapha has had to deal with it before, but Dooi has been coming on the up and up. Now, to say the least, his scrims haven't been going the best recently over the last couple of days. I know he's been scrimming against the likes of Chain and Dahang. Didn't go too well, but that's just a standard casual scrim to try and learn and figure out what needs to be done and what needs to be improved on. He's done that, he's probably realised his mistakes, and now he's got to push forward to see if anything works out against Rapha.
Yeah, that's going to be the hard part, right? Is as much as the fact that Dewey's been looking good, he's getting some nice results here and there, he's not done it against Rapha. That's the big one, right? Sure, if you can beat everyone else in North America, that's incredible. But if you can't beat Rapha, then you've not truly completed it.
Yeah, that's it's like a campaign, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Rapha's the final boss.
He's always been the final boss, isn't he? He's been a final boss for a ridiculous amount of time, years and
Good
years
20
and years.
years.
Oh, yeah. It's just no stopping him, man. But, like, he's the perfect esports role model, you know. He's the one where if something bad happens at a tournament, he doesn't play well, he'll realise his mistakes, he'll just go forward, very humble at the same time, and he'll always try and work out what needs to be done, and that's why he's the perfect role model. The last 10 or 15 years, he's made sure that he progresses further and further, and there's just no stopping him. He's hit a tier, it's so high, he's like Cooler. Even if he plays bad, he still does really well. It's just, it's annoying, because it's unheard of, and it must be a pain for some of these players competing against him.
Oh yeah, playing against Rapha is never an easy feat, and the maps could definitely potentially swing things as well. So let's have a look if he's whipping out any wacky picks. Ooh!
Okay, so it looks like Dooi does ban Veil earlier on, but the first map will be Blood Covenant, and Dooi to pick that, I've noticed that he has been playing on that a lot. He's been scrimming it recently, but Athena as well. It's just really difficult to see exactly how we actually be able to cope. But with the Nyx, at least that way, if he used the Ghost to get away in any way, shape or form, he can do. Corrupted Keep, again, Rapha with the BJ, what can he do? But then again, Dooi does have the Anarchy, so there's a lot of room for him to try and get away, if possible. Ruins, I feel like, is more Dewey's pick in terms of how he wants to do things. He bans the Visor, has the Clutch, but then again, Rapha does have the Stroke, so we'll have to see what comes out of that.
Pretty wacky though, that's what caught me off guard. The Clutch has been thrown in there. You got that big hunky electric-y boy coming out in the mix. I don't know, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect to see the Clutch being played. That could definitely have a lot of impact on this. There is going to be a lot of fast-paced movement. You've got, what, 4 ridiculously fast champs thrown in there? Athena with the grappling hook, Strog with the crowd slide, obviously just going to be zipping his way around. Clutch coming through, he's got the little jump.
And you've got the Anarchy on top of that, yeah, the fourth one you mentioned just now. Yeah, it's quite mad. It's very, you know, there are meta picks, but some of them are off meta with the Clutch as well and Ruins. I'm seeing I'm interested to know what Dewey's thinking of actually doing with that clutch, because it's quite hard to use in certain scenarios, but especially with the Strog. So we'll have to see what he can come up with. Could have some ace up his sleeve.
Yeah, if he can clutch that one out, obviously it'd be a good map to take. But we'll have to see, won't we? Obviously, it's going to be a hard series. Anyone that faces off versus Rapha, you know, you might be thinking, if you've tuned in and gone, boy, these guys really love Rapha, but essentially, if you don't, you know, give him this much respect and hype him up to this sense, you would be downplaying his achievements. There's a reason why he has this much stock put in behind him in Poland. Didn't even drop a single map. Literally just wiped the floor with everyone, mopped him up like a spilt drink anytime he faced off against them. It didn't matter. Manhandled Razy in 2 series back-to-back, 3-0ing him and, 3-0ing him again. What are you supposed to do against that? How can we say anything other than the fact he's sick?
Yeah, I think that's the only phrase you can come up with. The only thing I can say is people may not do enough research on Rapha, or Rapha just decides to change things when he wants to. He won't have the same routine or rotor or flanks. He'll always change up constantly all the time, and he'll watch back his plays. Even if he had that 13-0 at Stage 2 finals, he will definitely would have gone and looked back and gone, okay, well, I shouldn't have given away like particular frags here and there, or felt like he got demolished on. And if he's still working on his mistakes now, which I'm sure he is anyway, then he's going to get better than what he is. Like, you can't stop the man. He's just ridiculous.
He is outrageous. Rapha, he is just crazy good at Quake. And already we start off with him firing out a warning rocket, trying to deny dooi from picking up that rail. But he snatched it away and he's gotten out of there. So Rapha on the Athena facing off versus dooi on the Nyx. The Ghost Walk could be a nice little tactical edge to have potentially later on into the series, but let's find out as we step into the action.
Yeah, dooi normally plays very defensively, and Rapha, of course, knows exactly what his play style's like. But how can he overcome it? Will he play slow himself? Will he put himself in some awkward positions? But doi's playing low throughout most of his game, and he's got a nice first rocket off. Hasn't really done too much afterwards. We'll pick out the tri-bolt anyway to try and at least get some damage done, but lovely rail there from dooi to try and keep him at bay. He may have to give it that mega, and he went too far up the lift. Gives away that mega. If he managed to get that, that could have been a completely different story.
Yeah, that is very unlucky. Ghost Walk's already come out as well. Rapha's trying to chase him down, had a sneaking suspicion of where he was heading. Did chase him, but isn't quite able to get much from it. Nice rail work as well, still landing some filthy shots and punishing dooi at these given opportunities.
It's not making life easy for himself. That Ghost Walk he used earlier, that was vital. He definitely would have been taken down. What is dooi up to next? Rapha's going to play it a little bit slow, knows exactly where his whereabouts are, and knows that he will be going for that mega, but is he going to go for it? Of course he will. Gets that mega. Nicely timed there, but doi's just been on the floor. He can't even get any height advantage, let alone any weaponry. It's not looking too good, but Rapha's going to try and slow pick this, try and bait him out and see if he will fall for the bait, but dooi hasn't. Still walking, still treading along, but now we have to see what his next move is, as now Rapha is seriously stacked.
Yeah, give him a yellow pages to stand on for the height advantage. That'll bring him up.
I need yellow pages to stand on, I think.
Yes. Rapha might not have the yellow pages, but he's definitely got his number as he fires out the warning shot. Starts to connect back across. Will snatch away a mega as well, so his HP is going to be in a lovely little position. And we're nearly 3 minutes into this one, so time is definitely ticking away. And dooi hasn't really been able to cause much dismay against Rapha here. Rapha basically has uncontested control of all the major items. He's building himself quite a nice stack to play with. Sure, they're firing the odd warning shot, but there's not really too much chaos going down. That's the second Ghost Walk coming out so far. Dooi drops back down as he's on the low ground again. And this is really just quite awkward. He's not been able to do much at all.
No, Rapha's just having a laugh at this stage, keeping that high ground. Doi's trying to make something happen, but at this point in time, it is a Rapha show. As I say that, dooi in a very important rail, Luigi trying to get the second one up, but it's going to chase for the frag anyway. My goodness, the HP on dooi, and finally gets taken down. That was very well played from Rapha.
Yeah, surprising. Obviously, it looked like he had missed that opportunity to just absolutely smite him there, but instead on the return around, does finally find the kill and puts him down. That's now a 2-0 scoreline in frags going the way of Rapha. Straight back over towards the heavy as well. Sneaking suspicion that there is going to be a push coming around the corner from dooi, so he just starts hammering out with the tri-bolt. Nice bit of connection. That damage is going to ring home and at least strike a bit of fear into doi's heart and cause him to fall back. They both race over towards the Mega. Oh, Rapha, you naughty boy.
My word, managed to clean up there. He didn't have much LG ammo, but maybe the Ghost Walk helped Rapha a little bit more. Nice little spawn rail there. But surely he can't get away from this. It's just going back and forth at some stage. Oh, it's literally so weak, but Rapha's going to try and take the risk. Of course he will, and will extend his lead once more.
He is a cheeky little man, isn't he?
He is, you know. He doesn't muck around here as he gets to heavy, goes up on top and going straight after him. But you've got to remember, dooi does have the rockets, but he hasn't got the HP to back it up. And managed to fall back as Rapha will get the Mega again. My goodness, the item control from Rapha is next to none.
Yeah, he's absolutely running away with it. dooi looked like maybe he was trying to set himself up for the perforation, just split him from the inside out, but you're not really going to have an opportunity to do that. And instead, Rapha drops down with the elbow drop, slams him in the face, and that's another frag found as he's just absolutely demolishing him now. And this is why we talk about Rapha so much.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it. And don't get me wrong, doi's had a few glimmer of hopes here and there with the rail, but it's been missing too many shots, and it's just been extremely difficult. And the patience from Rapha on that spawn, and another rail, back-to-back rails there for the 7th frag on the board. My goodness, there is no stopping him. And dooi just being treated as though it's matchmaking at this point. It's just very difficult. doi's just trying to do everything he can, but it's been kept on the low ground, the item control, and in favour of Rapha every single time. That's the 8th frag. Goes for the 9th. That was disgusting! My word!
Right, you cannot allow this level of abuse on Twitch.
No.
This is just filth.
It's dirty, to say the least. 10th frag with already just under 6 minutes gone. And dooi is not having a great time. He's going to risk the Mega anyway. Luckily he manages to get it, but then again he would have survived the rail no matter what. And Mega gets rail done anyway. My goodness, Rapha is definitely putting on a show.
Yeah, Rapha, if there's one thing he does, it's always provide prime entertainment. It might not be clean, it might be absolutely disgusting, but he definitely provides us with some amazing games, and he's looking to try and do a little bit more damage here tonight as well. Diving straight in, dooi going to be juggled by the rockets. Every time dooi goes for a major item, Rapha, even when dooi has been there quicker than him, has been able to beat him off the major item and force him back, which is quite an impressive feat, really. I don't think we see people do this that often, let alone multiple times a game.
dooi at this point is scared. He's suffocated. He's been pressured so much across the board. He's probably feeling right now, no matter what I do, wherever I go, I am getting stomped on, and there's nothing he can do. The rails from Rapha has been perfect. It's keeping him at base. He'll go for another clean rail. Again, the 12th frag. Now for Rapha, and he's going to go for the 13th straight away. He made the assumption he was going to go for that light armor, and the assumptions he made with that instinct was perfect, and timing these items up to a point where dooi just feels like it's completely out of his hands.
dooi peeking over the ledge. It's a battle of an LG. And it seems like the shotgun finish will be what saves the day for Rapha. 14-0. 7 minutes in. That's 2 frags a minute.
I want to say what doi's doing well here and there, but it's hard to say and hard to call because it's just been constantly on. Oh my goodness, the Ghost Walk ended up being the disadvantage for him. And the game sense is just unreal. He's just going straight for the teleporter, going straight through. He's going to clean up, surely he will. But he's still being patient, even though he's got such a huge lead. But comes back anyway. Will he get the first frag on the board? Will dooi be able to make something of this? Lives like it won't be. He will have the Mega. Rapha does need to back away, just barely with 2 HP. And even now, the heavy, it's only got 5 seconds, but
He's duked him as
surely he
well.
has to let it go. Yeah, exactly.
What? He's been able to get away. He's now going to get the heavy. That was it. That was the one opportunity Dewey's had basically this entire game to essentially secure himself a frag. Rapha evades it and then looks to now try and get an extra one for himself. Starts to do a nice little bit of damage. He's got that grappling hook, so if things do start to go pear-shaped, he can just quickly dive out of there. That's going to be the rail.
Oh my.
And that's another frag found. Surely not another one off the back of the spawn. Just a little bit of a tag this time, but finally it's not just going to be a kill instantly off the get-go. Rapha, very cheeky, dives in. Dooi now dies to a shotgun. Right, you know when your bin is too full and you've got to try and put some more stuff in the bin?
We need to take the bins out.
Yeah, so you've taken a bin out the back, right? But there's far too much stuff in there. So you start like stomping on it a little bit to try and get the rest of the rubbish lower down.
Yeah.
That's what Rapha's doing. He's just stomping on it. Just absolutely stomping.
Yeah, it's... Do you know what? You're not actually far from wrong. That's probably the perfect analogy for this match. Is Dewey's just being left cold out in the open.
Man.
The tri-bolt shots.
The
It's
foxes
just
are
ridiculous.
sniffing around.
Yeah.
The foxes are like, what? It smells like there's a little bit food left in there. Rapha's come along, gone, mate, I've got some more frags to put in this bin. So he's stomping down, getting the frags in top. His mum's there going, you're not going to fit any more frags in there. And he's just like, hang on.
Yeah, let me do my
on.
chores first. Yeah, I'm still doing my chores here. I've still got at least another 20, 30 minutes until I want to, you know, take the bins out. That's perfectly understandable. But my word, this is probably one of the biggest demolishments we've seen in a very long time. And you can remember, Dewey is a very well-rounded defensive player. We know what he's like. And there's no way he could have come back from that, considering the circumstances he was in. Will he get the 19th? Of course he will. All in a day's work. Rapha 19-0. A huge margin, to say the least. Doing God's work.
Just smurfing, isn't he? Just,
Yeah.
Like,
Awful.
mad. That's absolutely mad. Oh, look, but here's the mental bit, right?
The
Look at that.
damage.
Nearly 3k damage for Dewey. A difference of 500 damage accounts to a difference of nearly 20 frags. How on earth is this? How does this happen?
To say the least, all we can say is Dewey. He always never had any height control, couldn't contest any of the items. He was getting rail left, right and centre. His aim was a little bit off. I kind of feel like when I watched the scrims when Dewey was playing against Chain and Dahang, you could see some of those weaknesses, but maybe he just hasn't solved it. But Rapha, you got to remember, Dahang and Rapha are teammates at the end of the day. So Dahang may have told Rapha like what he's like, what he's been up to, and how he actually plays, or maybe not. It depends on the circumstances, because they are, of course, rivals as well as previous teammates. But even then, it's like he's had his number. It's like he had piercing sight as well. It's just ridiculous. But this spawn frag was ridiculous if it comes up. But it wasn't this one in particular, but there was one with the nail gun earlier. And don't get me wrong, on spawn, you can get the damage done, no problem. It's the fact that getting the frag instantly is ridiculous. There we go. That's the one we was looking for. And that was back to back. Poor Dewey, man. He must be... didn't have the best of times, shall we say,
The
Jack?
fact the nails were still in the air when he spawned, so the nails hit him, then the rail hits him. It's just like, you can't be doing this.
No, you
This
can't
is just
do.
not appropriate.
But with Nyx's start stack, it is doable, to say the least. So, and of course, Rapha, the professor himself, knew that. And I love this with the Ghost Walk and managed to get behind him anyway. That was just clutch plays. It was a masterpiece, world class.
Man, it is crazy. Just one of the most proficient players I think we will ever see in the way he approaches the game, and we get to see a complete bloodbath come out from him once again here today as he slaughters his way through Dewey. 19-0, just madness, really. I mean, you know, there's not much you can really analyse from it. It's just Rapha's just crazy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just an absolute nutcase. The only thing we could say is that Dewey wasn't at top enough. He didn't get much weaponry when he had the chance to. The item control wasn't contested as often as he would like. There was a lot of little things that caused huge mistakes, and he just wasn't really showing any... Not any momentum, any confidence, but wasn't showing any passion to like actually try and make a comeback. You saw Avek earlier on Ruins against Kilson. That was raw passion. Avek, you could see he really wanted it. He was annoyed, but not annoyed to the point where, okay, this map's done. He was like, right, actually, do you know what? Let's try and start this comeback going. And he actually managed to, and it was fabulous stuff. It was a real treat, in my opinion. But Dewey, you kind of felt like that. It wasn't really in his favour because he is a defensive player. He can switch it up and adapt when needs to, but it was just way too little too late, and Rapha just had his number and just was just like, well, let's just continue on forward to the next map.
Yeah, Rapha just, swang straight into the next one. Grapple hooked his way into map 2 as he's absolutely obliterated him there on the opener. It's rough. Hopefully dooi won't take this one to heart too much, obviously. Reset your mentality a little bit. Take it as a best of one. Try not to think about it.
I wish he could, and I hope he can as well, because it could be a similar feat on Grud to keep. But at least there's the opportunity to trade if anything happens. But from what we've seen so far, dooi's on a very good start, but Rapha's got that helpful to help him out a little bit more. In my word, that would have been a good start for dooi, but as I say that, my word, I'm surprised dooi didn't actually get that frag, but he still can. He's still putting the pressure on Rapha, doing everything he can, but it's not going to happen, and it won't be the case, as he will back away to fight for another day.
I think the most ridiculous thing is the fact that Rapha's now in a better position with his stack, considering that dooi was the one that had done all the damage, had miles of health compared to what Rapha had, and now we're back into this position where they've had to trade a major item east and they still haven't picked up a frag, which is quite crazy from the way this game opened up, but I suppose that's the way it's going to go. Much better position than Rapha, just obviously being able to tear him a new one at the start of the game again, so potentially this time it could be a little bit nicer for dooi. He's going to be able to pop out that akimbo though on the BJ, looks to really overwhelm dooi, but he isn't fully going to commit. That's classic. That's vintage Rapha. He'll get him low. It will be in a position where, in reality, he could probably push for the frag, but instead, he'll go back. He'll play for the major items, and he'll wait to set himself up in a better, more guaranteed time to look for the kill.
And one thing I've noticed as well with Rapha, he'll go for the orbs or the light armors as he's fighting. Not, because he's weak, he's going to stop and actually try and fight his opponent. He'll go for him as he's fighting every single time. He just takes advantage of any little thing on any map and just abuse it to its fullest, and it's really showing that here. And at the start of this map too, you've got to remember with the inject, Rapha is at a little bit of a disadvantage. But then again, you've got BJ with, well, as I was saying, with the dual wield, but dooi, first frag on the board. Now he needs to maintain this and seriously be careful about his next execution.
Yeah, you've got one, but one is by no means anywhere near enough. You can't play that super slow playstyle that he enjoys and he thrives in, because you're up against Rapha. He will just push, and he'll somehow start to make it work. That's going to be a trade frag found, so it's still basically a stalemate of the position they were in. Rapha, he's quicker back over to the scene of the crime though, so that's a free rocket launcher picks up. Gets a little bit of armor off the armor scraps that fell down to the ground as well, and dooi is instead just roaming around looking for an opportunity. Rapha, a little bit paranoid of where he might be coming from, does hear the audio cue there, sends himself flying through. I love seeing people do this, as he's stolen both of the major items, got there in record time, and still found the frag. That's just balmy.
It's pretty much a speed run at that point, isn't it? It was just ridiculous stuff, but he's putting the pressure on, and finally Rapha takes the lead. He's so purely desired there, and again he's trying to go for the trade-off, but he hasn't. He still had quite a decent stack. You can see dooi is getting a little bit frustrated, but it's Rapha right now is just flying around the map, just putting any kind of pressure on dooi. But a lovely LG there is going to back away, only so slightly to push in again. He knows he's going to go for those orbs, the instinct and the game sense. He knows exactly what he's up to. And doi's running out of options of what he should be doing next.
Rapha, he's got a 2-frag lead, so listening out for the audio cue to see if potentially he could find out where dooi is coming from. Dooi now starting to make his move back over the bridge towards the Mega, as it has just respawned. Rapha's using this as an advantage, knows when he's about to be pushing in, and tries to do some damage to him. The rocket's going to miss, pops out the double LG, but he's not really getting an opportunity. Dooi is just playing behind that broken wall, being able to keep his distance from Rapha, terrified of the consequences of if they do come face to face.
Yeah, he did a great job making sure to stand on that hourglass wall to make sure that he doesn't come into a collision of Rapha. Rapha was just waiting patiently, and I think dooi made the assumption that he was going to stand there until he pushes out, but he didn't push out, which is the main thing. He's going to bait out that Mega. Not the case. He's left it alone just for a little bit, just to have a little bit of a delay. But is looking for the right play here. He is going to have a look around. He knows exactly where he is. Nice rocket there from Rapha. But even then now, it's just all over him. It's just... Dewey's just trying to figure out what he should be doing next, but has got a rough idea what he should be doing. But even at this stage, Rapha is seriously stacked, but Dewey's not looking too bad himself. It could have been a lot worse, but Rapha's just waiting for the right moment to go in for the kill.
5-minute warning.
Rapha, rocket going to go down. Both of them actually coming out as the dual wheel comes out to slay. Double super shotty. The super shotgun not actually going to be able to connect, unfortunately. So he's not going to find another frag just yet, Harry. It's still a 4-2 stalemate. But Dewey, I mean, he's playing this, classic slower play style, but more just to survive. It looks like essentially he's playing not to win, but just playing not to lose.
It's like a battle for survival at this point, and even then, I love this. It's gone for the inject, and it's going to go straight in to clean them up. Will he though? That is the real question. Manages to, just barely. It was very close, but will Rapha go for this trade-off? He surely can. Definitely got the stack for it, but is they leave him alone for the time being? He decided to prioritise on the heavy, which is completely fair enough.
It's a much better spot to be in, but it doesn't really change much. It's just obviously the numbers are a bit bigger. 4 minutes left to go. Dewey, his injections come back up. He's done a good job of getting it out quite a few times at least. He's at 108 natural stacks, so that's one nice takeaway from it. But this isn't really going to do too much for him. It's not that much of a benefit right now. 6 minutes 30 through, and Rapha swings in, has the shotgun out, and just puts him down.
Ever since they traded earlier, when Dewey had his huge stack and Rapha still got away with the trade, that's when I thought, okay, there's going to be some problems here. If shotguns Rapha when he's got a huge stack, then later on it's going to really come and bite him, because it's really going to decrease the amount of confidence he has left in this series, especially after that first map earlier. But great LG from Rapha. Let's get a little more damage done. Dewey does get the inject, but even then, how long is it going to last? Not very long. As Rapha once again increases his lead further.
G's out, zapping his way through him, just going to burn a hole straight through the man. So Rapha now 8 frags to the measly 3 of Dewey. And this is really quite rough. He is teaching him a lesson here tonight over on Keep. Rocket's going to be spammed out as well to start to blow him down relatively low. He just doesn't have that much to work with. He'll get that injection. Is he going to opt to use it? No, he will go down. But he hasn't done much damage, so he can't really try and pop the injection now and go in for a suicide attack, because it just won't get him any benefit. Just the gauntlet out.
Possibly, but I'll be honest, I was more paying attention to how Rapha was just going for the rotate with the super shotgun straight away. But look at this, stacked once again. Got Dewey's number, gets some beautiful rockets there. Nice ones to finish off with the LG, and he does 11-3. It seems to be not too much of a change. Dewey stood more of a chance earlier on at the beginning of the match, but so far it is again the Rapha show. Another frag, gets the heavy. It will be going for that mega in the next 10 seconds. Dewey goes up lift. No, my friend, that is not going to happen. Another quick frag for him. He's going to go for him straight away. Still got a little bit of ammo left in the LG. We'll finish him with the super shotgun. 3 frags in the space of 15 seconds. Gets the mega. We'll be heading to that heavy quite soon. And Dewey's realised that yes, he does have the mega again, and it doesn't matter. 15-3. My word, this could be a bigger game than the last one.
It's madness. It's also, right, so the one thing is that I've always mentioned that I really enjoy about Rapha is that he uses the super shotgun so much more than anyone else you see play. Like, he uses it as such a versatile weapon. I think it's interesting that we're only now starting to see more people use it just throughout their arsenal. It's obviously back and sort of being flavour of the week a little bit more. But Rapha just uses it pretty much any given opportunity. He'll try and work it in there. It's actually got quite a nice amount of range to it. It can be pretty deadly. You can see there. Like, that's a big chunk of damage done from it.
Yeah, it seems like, depending on which part of the map he's on, he doesn't rely on the rockets as much. He prefers the shotgun because, let's be real, if your gun skill that good and you're that confident, why not use the shotgun? Because the amount of damage output you have on that is ridiculous, and it's far more reliable than the rockets, depending on the height advantage, how low you are. It depends where you're standing on the map. But yeah, he just uses it so much. But it's like I said, he will abuse any percentage chance in terms of win rate on certain situations of the Angel. It's really putting it at ease. 20-3. He's trying to get a full frag. Can he even try and get it? It looks like he won't do. 4 HP, my word. He's getting closer and closer to get another frag, but it isn't going to happen. 21-3. Will it be 22? Yes, it will. That was a masterclass performance. Rapha, my goodness. There is no stopping him.
No, Rapha's keep. Crazy stuff there as he's just absolutely punishing. Look at that, 2k damage done with a LG there. 5,000 damage to the 3,000 of dooi.
32 heavy and mega in total to doi's 2 heavies and 4 megas. He probably doesn't remember what it looks like anymore. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you stop him. He's just a lunatic, isn't he? He's just ridiculous. He's running around just looking like Ash from Evil Dead, just shotgunning everything. That was groovy.
Just good at clay shooting, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's mad. Like a middle-aged man. Spent
like me.
years clay pigeon shooting. Yeah, like Zoot.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. Yeah, I really don't know how you can remedy it, because Rapha is just basically unbeatable. I mean, that's the takeaway. You play against him, you're just going to lose. It's just luck of the draw, really unfortunate.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. Don't get me wrong, like, I hate saying the words unbeatable in those kind of phrases for certain people, but for dooi, yeah, he is riding that bus at the moment in terms of, like, trying to get anything done. But this, he just didn't know any of the timings of the items. I think it might have got to his head a little bit. You can see the mentality's been completely thrown off. But at the start, he should have been able to win some of the battles with the inject anyway. At least he got a little bit more HP, he can really get something done. But then again, it's a bit of a stalemate with the stacks going forth. But it was just a field day. dooi just did not know what to do. Let's be real, what could he have done? It's the fact that with Rapha, he will go for the health orbs and the light armor whilst he's mid-fight. Like, he'll go straight towards it, not even worry about his opponent. So at least it's technically stacked slightly bigger going forth.
Yeah.
And he'll, like, make the assumption and plays of what his opponent's going to make, and it happens every single time. But it was the correct plays, it was the correct assumptions, the correct game sense and instinct he's making. And again, like Kilson, doesn't hesitate.
No, it is just completely ridiculous.
Dirty.
Of just how good he is at the game. Just on vacation there, on the BJ. It's madness, because obviously, you know, there's only so much we can say that describes him in a good light, but really, it's rough, isn't it? If you run out of words to say just how good a man is, probably says quite a lot about how good that man is.
Yeah, we've, I think our vocabulary is like we haven't really got many words now to say, because I think we've used most of them up.
Yeah, we've limited ourselves by just describing Rapha so many times. Yeah. It's rough, because doi's had actually quite a few nice wins under his belt, obviously, you know, versus the Hang and stuff. He's been playing against a couple of people that are hard opponents, but still showing that he's got a lot to give. Then you get here to obviously, you know, the final boss of like the hardest difficulty you could play it on, and it's just Rapha.
Nightmare mode.
Yeah, literally nightmare. And he's just there with his shotgun out, just making a mockery out of you, turn you into soup. dooi soup.
Just doesn't care really, does he? It's like, with doi's defensive style, it's like people probably wonder, what's the best way to counter his style? Well, there you go. 22-3, 19-0. Yeah. He's had, what, 41 frags total in 2 maps. He could be on for the 60 bomb.
Oh, yeah. He could be coming in strong for it. It wouldn't even surprise me at this point with
the
way he's been playing.
Not at all.
It's just absolutely lights out. The maps have all been in his favour as well. He's playing champions that he enjoys playing. It's just pure madness.
Yeah, at this point, you know, with his mentality, I don't know what doi's thinking. He's probably thinking, well, you know, what else can I do? You know, it could be a 3-0, but then again, like, I've got to at least make some kind of a fight, because this is, you should see it more as an experience and learning curve for him. So he needs to try and pick out all the things he's done, but The amount of research he needs to look through in those VODs is a lot. He probably has to look at every 10 seconds of maybe some of the mistakes and misplays he's actually made. But on Corrupted Keep, when someone's got that much of a stack, they can just run away. It doesn't matter how high skilled the opponent is. It is so difficult. And dooi just proved for why, you know, Rapha just managed to absolutely dismantle him. There we go, that's another word.
Yeah, there you go. Throw that one in. No, it is quite wild. I suppose the only, you know, upside is potentially it doesn't really matter if Rapha wins because he's got so many points that, you know, he's never really going to get knocked off the top spot anyway.
Not really.
It's one of those where it's like you 3-0'd the series, well done, but was it necessary? Who knows? You know? He's just too good for his own good.
It's awful, isn't it? Yeah. Rapha should feel ashamed of himself.
Yeah, he needs to calm down.
Yeah, he needs to
not
just this map number 3. Just relax a little bit. Just chill. You know, it's fine. You know, you've done your job, done your business, but you know that's not going to happen. That's not his mental state. He'll try and 20-0 him or something.
That's the thing about, you know, he's called the Professor, right, Harry? And the thing is, he just, you know, he wants to teach people, doesn't he? So he's coming in. He'll teach you a hard lesson. Like
that was a
he'll make you learn.
hard lesson.
Yeah. It's like, oh, think you're good, dear? All right, come in the classroom. And then starts laying it down. This is how you use a shotgun. There we go.
And now
That's
Dewey's
20
giving
frags.
him
Enjoy that.
And Dewey's now giving him some homework to look up on. A lot of homework.
Yeah.
But enough coursework to last a year.
Madness, yeah. You get a degree if you beat him. He sends it round in the post. It's like, you know, when you turn 100, you get a letter from the Queen. You beat Rapha, he sends you a little certificate that just says, well done.
Congratulations, you beat me on a map.
Yeah. Now try to take a series.
Well, we'll have to see if he can take a map and see if Dooi earns that certificate. But no, within 20 seconds, Rapha gets the first frag nicely on the board. But I said it earlier, what can Dooi do with this clutch? We spoke about it before and see what's up his sleeve, but not too much at this point. Rapha has got a weak stack. This could be Dewey's chance to try and capitalise, but too little too late as he does manage to pick up that heavy. And there's a nice little ring out. Nice, you know, salt to the wound, insult to injury. And with the clutch as well, the whole point with the clutch is the fact that if you're playing against a clutch, you should try and stay well away back unless you've got an amazing stack and keep chipping at him, keep chipping at the damage and then push in. But Rapha's doing a mix of both. He's, you know, keeping his whereabouts, knows the info exactly where he is, keeping him at bay, but it looks like he has to be a little bit more careful. Rapha could be taken down here, but we'll see.
Well, he's on the Strogan Pika, so it is a bit of mechanical mayhem between the two of these, and right now he's just zipping around like a lunatic, Ferrari peeking every angle and being able to punish him with some big rail damage. That's a filthy shot he's just been able to land. I don't know how he's been able to muster that one up, but he is still really tearing bits out of dooi already. We're only a minute and 30 in. He's already had 3 frags to his name, and I wouldn't be surprised if it carries on with this trend pretty dominantly.
I'm assuming he wouldn't get as many frags with the clutch, considering Rapha is the person who has to sit back and stay back well away until he knows he's got the golden opportunity to get that frag on dooi. But he's more focused on the item control as he has done in previous games, and why not? Of course you need to. But with the clutch, it seems like dooi is struggling, but at least he gets that rocket off, does a nice chunk of damage onto him, but definitely isn't enough. And you can see now Rapha's looking everywhere for him. Dooi does get the heavy, so maybe there's a chance for him to try and come back into this.
Crazy bit is their stacks are already pretty similar at this point. Rapha brings out the LG. Sure, he's got that shield to at least absorb some of the damage, but Rapha, with a beautifully timed rocket, straight into the follow-up frag that's going to be coming out off the back of the Pika. Dooi is already down and out. You would not know he is playing a very heavy champion right now.
No, you wouldn't, not at all, and that's probably the perfect way to describe this game. Don't get me wrong, the hitbox is huge on clutch, but it doesn't matter. At this point, Rapha's just abusing it. He's not going for the odd rail shot here and there, and as I say that, he does it, caster's curse. But never mind, but 5-0 now in favour of Rapha. No answers, no changes, and my goodness. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And even then, dooi still managed to walk away with it.
That's mad. Rapha was so prepared for that as well. Jeez. This is just crazy how he's been able to play this so far. The movement, like, so smooth, so aggressive the entire time. He's just zipping around the map. It's like he's doing like a Quake 2 speed run. It's just bizarre.
You are definitely not wrong there, but at this point in time, Rapha's looking very healthy in the stack department. Knows his info, knows exactly where he is. Just letting him come to him anyway, but dooi still managed to get a few rockets off. And even then, Rapha pushed in a disadvantageous area and still comes out on top. Madness.
Dooi looks stressed during that fight. He's like rocketing, like inches away from himself. You could see he was blundering a little bit. This man has had enough. He's terrified of what is occurring right now on the server.
It's just a huge level of frustration, and there we go, taken down once again at the hands of Rapha. 7-1 now, got his stack back up nicely, can definitely go for a fight here if necessary. It decides to go for that rail, but switches back across. He thought he was going to come over from the light armor. One more rail could do it, but it seems to be doi's not going to take up on that challenge as Rapha gets his stack back up once more. Dooi does have the mega, but he's going to go for the fight. Sadly loses, but at least Dooi gets another frag on the board, and a little bit too late for the frag spawn. Sorry, despawn kill.
Nice little rail from a distance. Going to be able to slap him up. Is Dooi trying to hide around the corner and keep himself at a low profile. Very hard to do when you are the size of a house. He does get seen by Rapha and just going to get torn to shreds there by the LG. So again, 8-2. We're 5 minutes into this one, and it's looking like it is just going to be a lot more of the same. And that is, of course, just Rapha running away with things quite dominantly as he's landing every single shot. Lightning gun finisher, and it's also the confidence in which he's dealing with things. Normally, it feels like if you had someone versus a clutch in this sense, you wouldn't be taking as many good fights. You wouldn't be going for, you know, cheeky tags when you're low on stack. You'd be wanting to keep your distance. Instead, Rapha is just swinging. At every opportunity, he will peek and he will punish.
He really is. Don't get me wrong, he's keeping his distance a little bit, but you're perfectly right. He's been a lot more aggressive from what we'd normally see against a clutch. And my word, that rocket, Doi's in a lot of trouble here. Again, another 45 damage from that rocket, and Rapha is after blood, but it's going to let him get away for the time being since he managed to get that heavy. But now Rapha's on the back foot. He really needs to get away, try and restack if possible, which he has done, but still has the info on where Dooi is. He probably knows that he's just heard him drop down, gets the mega, so still looking quite healthy here.
Yeah, the only one that's looking green around the gills is going to be Dooi. Oh, the Pika, so much damage done. If he lands that rail, that is it. It will be the demise of Dooi. He does still get the armor, but it doesn't matter because the rocket is going to blow him to smithereens from point blank. We're coming up towards 7 minutes as well. You'd have thought that Rapha would have gone down here, but he's actually able to evade. Super Shotgun comes out because why wouldn't it? It's Rapha. He sends Dooi on a flight to Mars there. I don't even know.
Send him into another dimension,
He's
pretty
just
much.
off, yeah. He's been sent to Planet Cuckoo.
But yeah, he's just tearing him to shreds at this point. I didn't think it was going to be a similar scoreline because Dooi has the clutch. It's Ruins, one of the largest maps in the map pool. Surely there might be some way he can make a comeback, but any strategy's just gone out the window. But even with the shotgun's doing so much damage here, and he's so close and takes him out with the Pika. My word, Rapha is on a tear and is looking for that 60 frag mark in the total of these 3 maps.
There's the shot off from above. 13-2. God, he could definitely be going for the 60 bomb if all things carry on, as he is just racking up a ridiculous amount of frags. The super shotgun starts to come back out as well, so back to dealing what he does best. Death delivered by slugs.
I don't even imagine what Doi's thinking at this point. He's just running out with a machine gun. He's just hoping that to get some kind of trade. Not going to happen. Referee Stack still has all the weaponry in his arsenal. Not full, but enough to at least take a couple of engagements. These rockets are maddening. Is he going to be able to finish off? Surely not. Oh, and that Pika probably will finish the job. Yes, it will. Nicely done. Very flashy play there. 16-2 now. He's got 2 minutes remaining. Come on, Dooi. We know you can make a comeback here.
He's
Third rail?
railing him from on the wall. Drops off, still barely misses, but gets the shot off and punishes him. My goodness, this is just disgusting.
Surely this is the largest fragging series in the entire Pro League. I could be mistaken, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. Oh, okay.
That's quite cheeky.
Yeah, that
you
was
don't normally see him go for that.
No. He was feeling it though, you can tell. But then again, he's always feeling it, isn't he?
That's what I'm saying. This is literally Rapha coming out just going, he will learn. I will teach him. Like, that's what he's doing here. He's just running away with things.
At this point in time, he's probably been taught. The only thing you can be taught is just to be careful when you fight against him in any engagement. 19-3. Gets the corner out, almost managed to. Well, I say almost, but it wasn't really right in range. Takes it down, 20-3, 45 seconds left remaining. Nice little rail there, but it's way too little too late. Misses the rail. Both these players, it's just absolute manning. 20-3, and so far, in total, I'll work out at the end what they've had throughout the entire series, but alone, 21-3, absolutely sickening. He had 22 before and 19, that's 41, that's 62. He has total throughout the entire series. What can dooi here? Not really much.
Dooi down and out again. It's crazy. He's just getting battered.
It is a treat though to watch. Like, it's
yeah,
crazy. Like
it's
in the
wonderful.
Pro League, playing against such a high caliber tier player like dooi, and pulling out frags like that. 22-3. That is just absolutely remarkable. 63 frags in total throughout the course of all 3 maps. Just him alone.
Yeah.
My word, there's a lot of homework that needs to be studied, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, dooi, now he knows what it's like to be a strawberry in an English back garden during summer, Harry. He just got destroyed by slugs from the super shotgun.
He definitely did. Yeah, I'm just going to agree with you on that one because there's not a better way of putting it. It was just remarkable. It's just... Okay, yeah, fair enough. There was a lot to learn for dooi here, but it's just a pleasure to watch someone like Rapha playing against dooi, very highly calibered, skilled player, being taken down like this. I don't know if it's his mentality went out the window. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but he was just riding that struggle bus throughout the entire course of the series. Rapha proving again why he is one of, if not the strongest in the business.
Yeah. So versatile, so incredible when it comes to his gun skill, his understanding. Always 4-5 steps ahead of his opponent. Makes them second guess themselves. Makes them play in a box. Rapha, you know, it's so hard to ever get an edge over this man because he's living in 2025. Like, he's already ahead of the curve by whole years.
Yeah, it's so dangerous, and I'm sure, you know, the other players as well, like Razy, Dahang, are going to be watching this thinking, like, you know, my words, like, what on earth happened? Yeah. And if they haven't watched the series, they'll probably definitely watch it back when they see the scorelines, because there's a lot to learn here. The aggression, I feel like Rapha wasn't not playing his A game, but wasn't playing based on the strategies and the tactics he actually comes out with. It was just a massacre. I think he knew it was just a bit of fun and games towards the second half of each map, and just all business aside.
I mean, I was surprised we actually saw him whip out the gauntlet for a frag, because that's actually one of the things that normally you don't commonly see from a man like Rapha. He'll normally actually play as close to, you know, as repeatable as he normally can and keep it, you know, respectable. And it just seemed like at this point he was like, well, I'm just sick, so I guess I'm just going to go mental and just wreck him.
He was just
like, well, fair enough.
Just a lunatic. I still 63 in 3 maps. That is. There's no word for it, really. It's speechless.
Yeah.
There you go.
He is a slobber knocker. He himself is the human embodiment of a slobber knocker.
What a shame, eh?
Yeah.
Just what can you say? Like, you know, that was just pure and utter destruction, to say the least. That's the only thing you can say.
Yeah. Madness. Well, let's have a look back at the day that has just gone by, because we had some amazing games tonight, and I think it's worth highlighting some of them that really did stick out to us. Of course, to kick it off, we had Sparty 3-0ing Zron, which I think was actually quite a surprising feat.
It definitely was. Sparty coming out of the woodwork there. We saw how well he's been playing in Challenger League, and now he's here in the Pro League, still continuing on. And he's always been amazing back in the day and now. You know, he's still comparing his level of consistency. But look at the frags, 10-8, 8-6, and then 11-10. All very, very close. The series score doesn't show the scoreline of each of those maps, but my words are on there. Struggled a little bit, but it could have gone either way. Nosfer, nice to see him get that win over Sidegive. Sidegiv's been doing very well, but Nosfer's really starting to shine, and Dramis coming back on form with some slow-paced games, but at least playing at his pace and playstyle. But Tox and Razer, again, another formidable match we saw earlier, definitely back and forth.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Obviously ending 9-10 on the first map there, which is pretty darn close when you think about it on Awoken. It seemed like Tox was actually going to be able to take that one. Quite surprising that things ended in the way they did, but still, getting a map off Razy is a big feat, so I imagine he'll be happy with that one. Then later on in the day, we had Effortless versus Chain, which actually, in all honesty, again, on that Awoken matchup, I feel like should have really gone the way of Effortless. He looked so dominant throughout it. It was really down to the wire, but that again ends in a 2-1 scoreline with advantage to Chain. But Effortless, he played hard.
He definitely did. Effortless, you know, commiserations to him for losing that series, but he should not feel bad about it or kick himself. That was an extremely close game. That was a different Effortless we've seen in previous weeks. Completely different person. The grind and the practice is still showing that it's paid off, but make sure you got to keep on grinding and showing it, because the work is showing. It's just a matter of actually getting the results. The results will come eventually. Cooler versus Base, again, another good series. That was a fantastic way of play. Cooler had Base's number, but it shows that Base can be beaten. It's just a matter of strategies and trying to work out your opponent on their one. Avik versus Kilson. What can we say about that? The second map, Avik should not have made a comeback from there. Almost did. And if he did, that would have been probably one of the biggest comebacks in the history of the Pro League. And then somehow, someway, Kilson made a comeback of his own from 3 frags behind in that final map on Molten Falls. But Rapha versus dooi, let's be real, it was just carnage.
Yeah, obviously, as you can see, all the other scorelines a lot closer, a lot tighter, being decided by anywhere between 5 to 1 frag. Here, 19-0, 22-3, and 22-3. Crazy stuff. Rapha just having a bit of fun tonight, it seems.
Yeah, he was just in the playground for a little bit, but instead it was like for 30 minutes, and he's just enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah. He's walked out, he was just like, oh, do you boys want to play a little bit of football? And then just like breaking their legs. And it's just like, you can't be doing this.
Yeah,
it's not acceptable, Rapha.
No.
You can't just go around breaking people's legs for no reason.
It's awful. Should
absolutely.
Be shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
It's just pure unadulterated madness. But let's look a little bit further back as well. Before tonight's broadcast, let's have a look how the leaderboards looked before today's game. So we have a good idea of where everyone was situated. So obviously these are the results after last week's show, Harry. As you can see, these are the positions everyone was in. Rapha is in that top spot. He's not going anywhere. That's basically fact at this point. You've got 291 points. I don't imagine anything will really change that. However, some of the key ones probably to look at is obviously with Cooler. He's in 6th place. He took a very dominant win over Base, so you'd imagine he's probably going to be skyrocketing after this week's games.
Yeah, that was a battle for 6th place, and he's managed to secure it there going full. Sidegive, he had the chance to get in that top 7-6 spot, but because he lost to Nosfer, Nosfer did a massive favour to himself actually making that comeback and actually managed to help himself on that scoreboard. Xenoku has got a lot of work, but I feel like from what I've seen so far, he can definitely do it. It's just a matter of time. He hasn't been in the Pro League for long, over the last 3 weeks, probably about 2 matches he's played, but I'm sure the results will come in. He just needs to be patient and make sure to keep on with his practice grind.
Yeah, well, actually, a very key point to that as well is obviously that is the original spot that Brick played in, which never got any wins. And then, G-Nick came in, never got any wins. Xenoku, can he break the curse? Can he hashtag free Brick from the curse? Time will tell. Time will tell. Tox, 13th place there as well. Quite a key one to look at. There's a few interesting placements, but this is how things looked last week. Now I'll move on to the updated standings after today's series of games. This is how everyone is now.
100 points now in the lead. It's not looking too good for the rest of the bottom of the table with the 19 players, as he is on an absolute tear, storming ahead. and it's going to take a huge amount of work there. But Nosfer now in that top 10 spot. Saigib, because of that, is now closing in on him. And funny enough, because Nosfer beat Saigib earlier, they have now become to a point where they're on the exact same points. And Base better be careful, and Chain, because it's very close between the four of them for that top 10 spot. And Avik, you know what, from the way he's been playing, not too far behind.
You know what's interesting? For the first time, we have 5 North American and 5 European players in the top 10.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. And, you know, it's a bit of a rare occurrence considering the circumstances of some of these players. But my word, it's great to see. And the fact that the 7th to 10th is just so close, like just a few points, like 1 map difference between all of these, absolute madness. But it shows some of the hard work for some of these players. It's paying off, but I'm very curious to see how Nosfer plays in the future. And if Saigib can kind of at least try and come back from there. But it's the bottom of the table. You know, Sib, I'd love to see Sib in the future to see how he pans out, because he's settled in once again in the Pro League, and see if he can try and catch up with everyone else.
Yeah, I think Sib looked good on LAN as well, and obviously spending a lot of time with him in person, actually getting to know him a little bit. I think he's got a lot of drive and wants to, you know, actually prove that there's so much that he can do. We know he's skilled. I think it just, you know, is unfortunate. Obviously, his first games of this season were up against probably some of the best boys in the league, so it's going to take time to actually get those results. But yeah, that's the way things have shaped up after tonight's games. Of course, that is basically everything for tonight as well, Harry. We've watched everyone rage war in the battle for the belt, hoping to try and eventually get their names onto it as we do, you know, get closer and closer towards the end of the season now. Obviously, week 3, you know, it's 10 weeks, so we're getting towards that middle portion, so points are really going to start to mean a lot into the next few weeks.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of players where do they have enough time to come out of the woodwork to at least try and put a dent in the armour of some of these top players going into the Stage 3 finals. But you know what? I reckon we can. It's still early days, but we're already seeing progress with a lot of skill for some of these players. Like Saigib is always improving. Nosfer has been very impressive. If some of these players like that manage to be on form, then no telling like what it will be like on Stage 3 finals.
Oh yeah, Stage 3 finals could be absolutely ridiculous. It's interesting stuff, but it's only going to get more competitive as the season goes on. I'm curious to see where everyone towards that relegation zone is going to be as well, because some of the names there I think can definitely do better to break out of it, but only time will tell. In terms of today, though, I think that is it. We are wrapped up here from the magnificent Faceit Studios, of course, in London. It's been a blast of a day. I've enjoyed being with you, mate. It's been far too long since we've been able to ramble together on the microphone. You had fun?
It's with you, of course it's fun.
Oh,
and of course I love a bit of Quake. I always love it.
Oh yes, really so much fun. But that is it. We are all wrapped up here, of course, for Stage 3, Week 3 of the Quake Pro League. Thank you for our amazing production team here, and of course to Lethal as well. And thank you for watching from home. If you have any thoughts, tweet at us. It's hashtag Quake Pro League. Let us know on Twitter what you thought. But for now, we are done and dusted. We'll be back next week for more action.